Now you can start.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kalyan. So, on behalf of BAM, I'm going to present the introduction to machine learning. I hope every one of you are aware of a little bit basics about analytics, although I am going to start from scratch. So, moving on to introduction to analytics and machine learning, uh, we can say like analytics is the collection of tools and techniques, various tools and statistical tools or various methodologies or techniques used to create value from data, where data is our main motive here. Data can be any raw set of facts or figures. It can be in a form of text or image or video or any unprocessed way. Uh, how data is much more important of all the data analytics, deep learning, artificial intelligence, for machine learning, for every aspect, data is very most crucial. Nothing can be done without data. So without data, we can't train any model. So all even for automation or for making a model learn the algorithm, we use data. With the existing data, we train the model so that the machine can perform outrageous. uh, Even big companies like Facebook, Amazon will have lots of storage capacities to store this data. So we can see how data is much more useful to us. uh, Moving on to next, we know uh, Facebook has acquired WhatsApp for a price of $19 billion, because using Facebook, we can't access all the information of the users, but WhatsApp is being used by a very common man. Previously, we have been using Facebook in our teenage, but as going on, the now the trends moves on to WhatsApp. Every mm, minor to major, everyone is using WhatsApp rather than Facebook. So each and every minute detail can be of the user can be accessed through the WhatsApp. So Facebook acquired the WhatsApp for a huge price so that every user's information can be collected under one roof. uh, by this collaboration, they can improve their tasks and services. This is how the data is uh, is useful and has its own value to it. So moving on to the next, why we need data. So as you know, we are in a fast going advanced technology revolution where data is being created. Every minute information is a data, and which is growing with more velocity, veracity and volumes. So as per the research, we can say that for every single day 2.5 quintillion bytes of data is being generated. You can see how large it could be, and it is estimated by 2020 on an average per every second, every user on the earth is going to generate 1.7 MB of data. You might see 1.7 is not much big amount, but per each second on each day, by every single person on earth, whether he may be using or may not be using, but in representation of population, 1.7 million bytes, megabytes is a huge data. How we can see in the next point, like in total, 2.7 zettabytes of data is available in our digital universe. So If the data is more growing with a huge volumes in volumes, variety and veracity, uh, with any value of any type. So a terabyte can be of 1024 gigabytes, but a petabyte can be 1024. An exabyte can be 1024 petabytes. Like that, if we go on seeing 2.7 zettabytes mean 2.97 trillion gigabytes. You know how hard how a file would be. A movie file would be of 1.4 GB, that is gigabytes. If like that 2.97 trillion of movies are added up, we can get that much data is available in current world, so that we can assume how big, how much volume we are currently having. Almost 90% of the data is being created in last 3 to 5 years only. uh, as you know, we have been using mobile phones. There will be more IoT devices like Alexa or some robots. Every IoT generated devices, uh, every transmission device is generating data. So day by day, the technology is being advanced, as well as we are getting new machines. So more amount of data is being generated. So you can also see in next year they may say almost 95% of the data is created only in this year. It's not a big matter in such a time. So hardly out of that much data we are generating, we can't even use 0.5% of the data that is existing in whole world. So that's how much amount of data is being generated. So why the data? What is the use of this data? That question can carry forward to, like, having that much data is not, why to store all the data? Because we don't know what historical data or present data is useful at any point of time. To predict the future, we intake the previous past data and present data. You know very well, the prediction is based upon the present and the past. So past may be of any year or anything, because in past this experience may have occurred, may. So in increase in the data is being generated in high volumes, so that the data must be maintained, uh, handled in a secure way, and as well as the data redundancy, that is the data must not be repeated in multiple ways, so that we follow relational database management system. So RDBMS is the current trending topic, where we store the data uh, without any repetition. Also, these data can be used to visualize, so that the past and present data can be visualized to identify the patterns, trends happening in a graphical manner, so that we can predict the future. So based upon those values, we can plot the future. Mostly any data which has some value, which can be represented in values, can be predicted, which are quantitative, can be predicted further. Even the qualitative can also be converted into the quantitative, and those can be predicted, and we can make much better decisions. This improves the decision making, because the data is having some experiences, so that with the experiences there comes an output. So what makes the better output can can give us an insight about which is the best decision we can acquire. Mostly businesses uses these decisions to improve their organizations well. and also their shareholders well. And also the data can be calculated with which are more complex and also which are not unstructured, so they can be structurally arranged and then calculated. It can calculate up to uh, any number of volumes, which we currently known as big data. Big data is nothing but the data which has huge volume, huge velocity and veracity, uh, and value to it. So these everything can be manipulated with the data. Without data there will be nothing done in this whole world. So moving on to the next, you can see, you can easily identify that we have recognized these three terms earlier. The three terms can be artificial intelligence, machine learning, and deep learning. Maybe many of you have heard about artificial intelligence as well as machine learning, but not as deep learning. So I will give you a clarity about all these three terms individually. Uh, Most of you might think that these three terms are equal, one and same, but they aren't the same as the way you think. So, starting with the innermost thing, that is deep learning, I will carry forward this presentation further. Uh, in the diagram, you can see that deep learning
Kalyan,
is the subset
Kalyan,
of the machine learning.
Kalyan,
Yes,
your PPT is not visible, Kalyan.
only for you or for everyone.
No, it's visible for me.
Okay, okay, carry on.
So in the diagram, you can see like deep learning is the innermost part which lies inside the machine learning, and machine learning is the subset to the artificial intelligence. Remember this concept such that we can you can cope up with the next visual terms. So going moving on to the deep learning, you can see like deep learning is a subset of the machine learning which we have talked earlier, which represents that how the human beings basic behavior uh, is and how they are being observed. So you have heard many of these like virtual assistants like Siri, Alexa. Uh, they recognize they are our virtual assistants, and also the facial recognitions where you can see in our phone unlocking in some transactional related activities, and also driverless cars. You can hear like the latest Tesla which has created driverless, I mean autopilot. uh, it's the current trend, so these all are based upon the deep learning algorithms only. So moving on, the so deep learning is nothing but the training the data and learning from the experiences where you have some data set with you from which the data is being trained, so that there can be some output generated. So what input may generate what kind of output can be an experience gain, so that the machine can say if we give this input we can generate such an output. So what other input may give what else, what other else. So this can be mapped and gain many more experiences. So this concept is called as deep learning. As learning concept is called deep because it is interpreting every single uh, every possible way how it can be further executed. So new levels can be identified further. We can say like all the iterations that it can perform can be said as deepest learning. So Uh, so every time if we give data, the data will be trained on the model so that the performance of the model gets increased upon. Uh, Coming to the next, with the as much as the data is being trained towards the model, the learning capabilities of the machines will also be increased. So without deep learning, and ML will not exist because deep learning is a subset of ML. I can explain this with you an example. Like deep learning consists of visual assistants, which recognize your audio or even your video, uh, and assist you by understanding or translating the message. And also autonomous cars like Tesla autopilot mode, which can safely drive from any location to any location, uh, and service and chatbots, which have reduced so many customer care executive jobs, by providing instantaneous and, and smart work in reduction of customer service. So facial recognition, uh, which you can see in most of your phone unlocking, and also shopping and entertainment, where uh, while you are shopping there can be some recommendations of other products, like cross selling of products can happen. uh, this all is being trained to the model with some data so that it understands and learns what else can be improved from the experiences. So here in deep learning, I need to add a point, like it's like developing an algorithm, like there is no supervision at all. It can develop upon its own. There is no interaction with an human. So moving on to the next topic, machine learning, which is the current most trendiest topic you have ever heard. So machine learning is nothing but is to train a machine. What to train on? With a specific task. A task is assigned to a machine such that it improves performance automatically upon its own through an experience. Here, here you can identify three terms like task, performance, and experience. The three terms are at most important terms in the machine learning methodology, where for every machine to be a machine is set to repeat or to perform a task where its performance is being evaluated. If we suppose, uh, I can explain this machine learning with an example to you. Like you can see, your mobile is recognizing uh, you with a facial recognition so that it can unlock your phone. So you have seen your mobile has some facial recognition. How it is able to identify that is you, it is my owner, and it is being unlocked because it is using machine learning, uh, as uh, as the camera which is attached to your phone, we is is identifying the owner, that is you, with an image capturing. So with image recognition, and with the nodal points which you have assigned during the security issuance, it identifies your face, and the machine learning technology identifies this the person who is in front of the phone is our owner. So if it matches the uh, terminology, it will unlock. So all the logic behind this is the task is to unlock the phone. The performance is on what basis, uh, how much efficient the mobile is recognizing the user, and the experience is whether uh, I am unlocking my user correct or wrong. It's an experience. If it is not going to recognize now, it identifies itself. It notes itself as an experience, and when the user tries to again uh, uh, reattempt to log in. So when it unlocks, it feeds as an experience to it. It's my user. I have not recognized him earlier, but recognized him now. So it's an experience gain. Next time when you use, the phone may unlock much more faster. So this is a continuous learning that is going to happen in machine learning. Uh, as you can see, we are in now generation Z. Like we call ourselves as Gen Z because we are now in a phase like we are going to do bank transactions by facial recognition itself. Previously, we use fingerprint thumb impressions, but now we are going to have facial recognitions, which is utmost thing. So moving on to definitions, in 1950s 56, Arthur Samuel described it as the field of study that gives computers the ability to learn without being explicitly programmed, because the we are giving we are using the computers and giving the ability them to learn themselves without writing a huge codes. Previously we used to we use C or C++ or Java and code them with a very long program, and make them work out on an out to generate some output. But now the trend has been changed where the computers they themselves learn. We give ability them, we show their ability and ask them to learn themselves so that they can program themselves and they can work upon any task assigned to them. That is our utmost thing we are expecting from them, so that we are making them to learn upon their own. But later in 1976, Tom Mitchell has provided another more definition. As I previously discussed about three terms, you can identify here that a computer program is said to learn from experience E with respect to some class of tasks T and as performance measured by P. That is a task T and performance P and experiences E. We can say that a machine is going to learn based upon its performance. If the performance is being increased on the task T with an improvement in with an experience of E, then it is said that the computer is learning. You can identify this from an example of playing checkers. Checkers is a game which is played by people in old days, uh, where here experience is the experience of playing many games of checkers, so that there might be possibilities of identifying what are the moves, what is the next move that can I make, and how many possibilities I can have to make my next move. where our task itself is to play checkers and P is the probability of winning. So if a task is assigned like you must play checkers, but the probability initially may be low. How good you can play? What is the probability of winning you? It might be less, but upon that with a gaining experience, like you may be failed in the first instinct or the second or the third, but upon gaining, you can collect like what can my next move be, what are my earlier mistakes, what can I do to correct them. So it trains itself, and with the experience, previous experiences it have, and performs utmost thing. You can identify in 1950s to 2009, 2016. You can identify are developed to play games upon their own. So they are even defeating like they're winning over the champions, and no men are able to beat the machines nowadays. So how we can see GoPro One is the utmost thing, which can play any game with a set of rules assigned to it. If you assist the rules to them, it can play any game or any task uh, according to the rules itself only. So another example you can identify, it's like you are you may be receiving lots of emails. Let's suppose you have a Gmail account, you are receiving lots of emails. How can you classify them as spam or not spam? Spam are considered as some waste. Let's think them as a waste mails which you are not interested upon, not spam, or which you are interested mails, which must be located in your primary. So you might be receiving from many e-commerce or regarding to jobs or anything, any platforms which are not useful to you, so they must be recorded as a spam. So how can a machine be trained so that it can classify a mail as a spam or not spam? So here our task can, so there are three options available to you. So can any one of you say which one of them is a task, which one of them is performance, and which is the experience? Can anyone? Hello.
Classifying emails as spam or not spam is a task.
Yes.
Mm, Watching you label emails as spam or not spam is performance.
Uh,
It was
okay.
actually experience. The fraction of mails correctly classified is the performance.
Okay.
Yes. Exactly. So task is to classify whether the mail is a spam or not spam, and the performance here is how correctly you are classifying them. What is the probability that this is correct and this is wrong? And the experience you gained is if a machine marks them a spammed mail as a not spam, it is a mistake that is being placed. So even the after a machine doing its work, even after the work, if a customer is marking it as a spam, it means the machine has not performed well, and uh, it will record it as okay, this email is being marked as spam, so from next time I'm going to mark this as spam. It is an experience that is being gained by the machine, so that upon later the machine will mark it as spam. So with the collective experiences, the machine is going to train itself and be and at mostly it will be of errorless. That's what we are using machine learning for, and what we are uh, waiting for.
So the like the middle one is experience, right? Sorry, that performance.
Yes. No,
So
no.
what is it
Middle
exactly?
one is the experience.
Okay, okay, yeah. Kalyan, I have a doubt.
Yeah, you can ask.
So generally, according to what Tom Mitchell, right, he said is enhanced performance and task leads to enhanced experience, right? It means upon the repetition of tasks, the experience of the machine learning model should increase, right?
Yes.
So, is there any count on how many times we need to make the model learn so
No.
that we'll get an accurate result? Is there any time, or do we need to check for
No.
each and
There
every
is
time?
no limit like this. These many times a model needs to be trained. It's like continuous learning. A model must be of continuous learning so that there might be a number of ways of getting. In deep learning, you will identify what are the all possible ways in which a algorithm can be built, so that if data is assigned to such an algorithm, what output can we get? All possible outcomes can be get. In the upcoming years, you may not say some issue may not be there now, but in upcoming years, like say after 5 years, there may be new terms and new terminology, new techniques, or new anything new may come that are which are unaware to the machine. So the machine cannot identify or classify it anything. It must be like it will treat it as an error only. After they require an human interaction where a user must say this is going to be spam or this is not going to be a spam. The user interaction is necessary. That's what classifies the deep learning from machine learning. A user interaction is always required in machine learning whenever any error is being generated.
Kalyan,
Yes.
that means you are saying that if there is a new task and it doesn't, the machine doesn't have the experience for the task, in the deep learning, will it learn by itself?
No. In deep learning, the machine is trained. Initially, the machine is trained to generate towards an algorithm. So it performs repetitive tasks on same data set. If I am having one data set and I am going to give towards an algorithm, the model is being trained. After that, there might be some let us say the accuracy of the model is suppose 70%. Again, uh, upon learning what are the mistakes it have made, it will again perform and identify that okay, these are the errors I have made, these must be made like let us check for the another set of iterations. So the performance of the model, the accuracy of the model will keeps on increasing as each cycle is being recorded as an experience. Upon gaining many experiences as interpreting, the model itself can clear. That is what deep learning talks about.
Okay, thank you.
Any more doubts?
No, it's clear for me.
So upon moving to applications, the machine learning can be applied various sectors. It can be of web search, like even Google is acting like an is a search engine which collects the voice recognition, voice commands, and it translates our voice Everything it's being done using the machine learning. Uh, Coming to computational biology, in healthcare sector, it can identify many. Uh, it can diagnose many diseases and also suggest a cure upon research. In finance, it can recognize the frauds that are going to happen or any scammers that are currently uh, trying to enter into the security concerns. uh, any transactions that are huge with the huge amounts are being transacted inside and incoming or outgoing can easily identified and brought into notice. Coming to e-commerce, it can identify whether the customer is going to make a payment or not, or going to are switching from our website to any other site. This that can be a customer churn program. So how many are willing to make a transaction with us or not? These can be estimated, and also cross selling can also be done. Space exploration can be if a robot is sent to another planet. It all the commands may not be sent from our end, but it must be in an ability to develop its own decision making and act upon it with this with the three terms we have defined like task, performance, and experience. Robotics is the trend where a robot is being trained. Robot is nothing but a machine. It must be trained to perform a task. So here we can consider the example of a self-driven car, that is Tesla autopilot mode, where it is assigned a task to drive from an destination one to destination two. It must perform a task with all the functions, rules set of rules assigned to it. Even in that scenario, if it is going to face some problem or some an obstacle is being placed, it must gain an experience that how to avoid an obstacle, or you must stop. This can be recorded as an experience, so that again that experience can be used as a trained data. It will use the machine to train and perform accordingly. Moving on to the information extraction, uh, we can use machine learning to self extract data from the web. As of now, you may not aware of this, but in future this will be definitely possible. Up to now, we can ask the virtual assistants what is the data available now. Questions Q&A can be done, but in further data extraction can also be done. Going on to the social network, the where the user information and what are the relationships, what are the customer satisfaction levels, what are the network traffic that is going to build. Everything can be identified over the social networks, uh, so that a value can be generated. Coming to the debugging is nothing but building from the back end, uh, where the bugs can be, so that how the bug can be resolved, how it is fixed, everything can be suggested with the machine learning. So in machine learning, there are two terms, like two approaches, like a paradigm, like there can be of two types: traditional approach and as well as machine learning approach. What is traditional approach is, previously in our earliest days we use C or C++, Java, these two. We we build a program so that we give the inputs with, so in return we can generate an output. This is what a traditional approach is. Our inputs are data program. So we have data, we will build a program on a computer so that if we give the data as an input, you can get output. That is the traditional approach. Coming to the machine learning, it's all different. Like data is staying as an input itself, where we are giving output also. We are specifying that if we give this as an input, this will be our output. So we ask the machine, you train upon yourself how this is being generated. We simply give data which is of input and output. It will generate itself a program. It is self trained. So machine learning can be of this type. Here, do you have any doubts regarding traditional approach and machine learning approach?
It's clear for me.
Okay. If anyone have any doubt, you can pin a message. So moving on to the machine learning methodology, we have data. We will build. There are algorithms that are written. It is also you must also aware of what algorithm needs to use. So the data is used over the algorithms to generate a model. You might not be aware of algorithm, what is a model, but you by now you know what is data, what data you have. So moving on to the next, algorithm is nothing like a set of rules how to conduct a statistical test, or a sequential order how an operations to be performed. So it generates an ability to a machine how to perform a task. That is what an algorithm is. And behind every model, there is an machine learning model, there is an algorithm built. So in order to build a model, you will use an algorithm. For sure, that's for sure. So model is nothing but a machine is being trained up using data over an algorithm is nothing but a model. So a model is nothing but, you can say like, this machine is built on an algorithm. That's a simple terminology you can say. So it's used to predict the future as well as making present decisions. It can predict future based upon the input and output you gave, so that it can test that other data, test the other data, uh, and make better decisions. So by now, I completed two topics like deep learning and machine learning. And now I am entering into the third one, that is artificial intelligence, where artificial intelligence consists of these two, like deep learning, which is inside the machine learning. So machine learning has a capability to think upon from the experiences, and in, with the experiences it gain, it will which will improve its performance upon the tasks. So this is what machine learning is. Here the artificial intelligence is nothing but, you can say like, it's a human reflection. It's like nothing but a machine must think like a human, uh, and perform the actions which a human can do. It's nothing but a mirror image of an human. That's what artificial intelligence is. Its capabilities must meet our human intelligence. So previously in machine learning, if uh, mm, if you have an error and human interaction is necessary, a human supervision is needed so that you can rectify an error, you can classify then and there itself, so that the machine gains an experience and then upon improves its performance. Here you can identify like a human is deciding what what's the error and what we must do, but a machine cannot. So that's make a difference from machine learning to artificial intelligence. It must resolve any error of any type upon its own interpretation, but the resolvement must not lead to any error. So like solving a problem doesn't end up with a correct solution. It may mislead to further error. So it must interpret and take a decision in such a way that there must be no further existence of any error in such a problem. So so we are giving the ability to think and take a better option to achieve a specific goal. That's what an artificial intelligence is for. So, how we can use this machine learning in business, how we can benefit, uh, how a business or organization can use this machine learning to benefit itself is like customer lifetime value prediction is like uh, it identifies their customer behaviors, how they are going to how they are purchasing, their purchase history is being analyzed, and upon that what are their customer base, how the customer base is being increased, what actions made them to increase our customer subscription, so that what areas are required to be concentrated to further increase in of our customer base. So all these can be identified and also be suggested through machine learning, which will help the business organization to build their customer base. Moving on to next, the predictive maintenance is like analyzing the risks uh, which may lead to very huge loss in terms of money as well as time. So uh, to predict the process or make a decision which will uh, reduce the failure or occurrence of any unnecessary expenses. It's like to avoid errors. So detecting spam mails in previous, you may not aware of terminology like a machine is going to mark as spam or not spam. Everything is being dropped into your inbox only. So detecting upon a spam mail, you can directly move the mail to a trash bin, so that you can take the example of our Gmail, where some of the mails are automatically redirected to the trash bin, so that uh, there is no use of them. So this is built over an ML algorithm. And product recommendations like cross selling is an a best term to be represented here, where you can take the example of an Amazon, where if you are going to purchase a mobile phone, so for suppose, it will recommend the other products which are supplementary products like uh, a mobile pouch or a screen guard or some headset. There can be any other complementary products, so that you can buy along with those. This is based upon the product recommendations an example. And moving on to the next, the financial analysis like portfolio management and what are the frauds that are going to happen. Is this transaction is a fraud? Everything can be identified or which can be brought up to the officials to monitor them. Uh, Moving on to the medical diagnosis in healthcare sector, machine learning is outrageous. Like it's diagnosing the cure to cancer patients, whereas malignant tumor, there are many areas where it is suggesting it is identifying the disease and suggesting the proper medication. And even in COVID times, it is identified what is the temperature levels of the humans that are traveling uh, with an ultraviolet radiation screen monitoring. So coming to cyber security, where new generation uh, is being built, and also as the technology is being advanced at most, so that there might be chances of risk in data security and data privacy, so that uh, the machine learning can help us to identify what are the bugs that are being present in current system, so that what areas uh, to be targeted to reduce this type of errors. It is nothing but debugging. That's it. Thank you. Do you have any doubts regarding any slide or any topic? You can ask me now.
Okay.
So Kalyan, is it?
Yes, sir.
That's a good one for a start.
Thank
Everyone appreciate him for the work that he's done. Now, yes. So tomorrow, Anusha, what are the modules that we will be covering?
Sir, tomorrow it's discussed about types of machine learning techniques in machine learning techniques that is discussed by Varun, and also what is supervised versus unsupervised
Okay.
by Varun, and data pre-processing is being discussed is to be discussed by Revant.
Okay. That's brilliant. So how long do you think this work would take every